Hello, very warm welcome. We're going to review the F1 2021 testing. It was a unique test as it was 3 days, 24 hours, and it was at Bahrain instead of Barcelona. Now we're going to review the test and review the teams. It was a very strong test for Red Bull, Alpine. I was very impressed with Alpine. Alfa Romeo were reliable. Red Bull have had their best test in years. Williams were reliable but not very quick. Ferrari are absolutely unknown. Aston Martin, Mercedes were poor. McLaren. So let's run down. Now we have the lap counter that the teams managed to achieve over 3 days. As you can see, Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri are joint on 422. Both of them teams were very reliable. We will start with Alfa Romeo and a very decent test for Kimi Raikkonen and Giovinazzi. Kimi Raikkonen on the last day put in one hell of a shift with 165 laps. Giovinazzi did it the day before. A very strong test for Alfa Romeo. 422 laps. Impressive. Very impressive. Now, on to AlphaTauri. Now, they looked absolutely on rails. On rails. Now, this team could surprise. AlphaTauri got 422 laps also. Pierre Gasly was doing laps for fun. And the car looks amazing on track. It actually looked on rails. Impressive. And Yuki Tsunoda on the last day was firing in fastest laps. Yuki was on fire. Yuki's on fire. He was absolutely lighting up the timing screens with Yuki Tsunoda. Really excited to see what he can do for the 2021 season. But he is a rookie and it was a fantastic test. And no issues, good reliability, got laps in, and then he was allowed to do a low fuel quali run and he was lighting up the time screens. On to Ferrari, probably the most iconic team in Formula 1. 404 laps. They had an issue with Charles Leclerc, a technical issue that brought the red flag out with Leclerc on day one. And Sainz had a gearbox issue. Well, it was stuck in fourth on the third day. Ferrari, I've got to be honest, I don't know where they're at. I think they're in the midfield, but they look a bit more powerful down the straights. Issue with Leclerc, Sainz stuck in gear. And I've really got no clue where Ferrari are at. But 404 laps. Decent reliability, but they did have two issues. Minor issues. On to Alpine. One of the best looking cars. And wow, Fernando Alonso. How good was it to see him back in a car for the first time in 2 years? Ocon doing lap after lap. Alpine, very reliable. Sexy looking car. Amazing car, amazing reliability, and interesting to see where Alpine are. I do have my order that I'll probably bring at the end of the video. On to Haas F1, 394 laps, an impressive test to say they have two rookies at the helm. Now, Mick Schumacher did have an issue on day one that hampered his day and he didn't get a lot of running. I believe he got 15 laps. And Mazepin had a very solid test. Now, these are two rookies. I don't believe Haas are going to be very good this season because they've not developed their car at all. But Schumacher, no mistakes. Mazepin, no mistakes. They got a lot of laps in on the final day and a solid test to say both of them are rookies. And the reliability was good, so a decent test for Haas. On to Williams. George Russell, Nicholas Latifi, Absolutely crazy that Williams were the only team to allow a test driver some time. Friday we had Roy Nissany in the car, Saturday Nicholas Latifi, and Sunday George Russell. Nicholas Latifi had a couple of spins and he had a big one but managed to keep it out the barrier. But again, Williams, reliable, no issues. I mean, you look back a couple of years ago, Williams could barely do a lap. They arrived at testing late. Now they've not even had an issue. On to Red Bull, 369 laps, and probably the best pre-season Red Bull have had in years. Max is actually excited. Max usually just says, we know Mercedes are better, but he actually seems hyped and excited. Are Red Bull real contenders? Best pre-season test in years. Are they real challengers? Reliability, fantastic. Max, lap after lap, topping the timesheets. Sergio Perez has a solid debut for Red Bull. And are they real contenders? Or are we all getting excited and Mercedes will come qualifying, bang, 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 5 tenths quicker than Red Bull, rinse, repeat. But an impressive test for Red Bull Racing. On to McLaren. Lando Norris, Daniel Ricciardo, and a diffuser at the back of the car. A brilliant test for McLaren, no issues. They did about 50 laps every day and they were happy with their programme. They were comfortably doing what they planned and it was a very good test. And again, McLaren, you look back a couple of years ago, they could barely do 10 laps in testing. Now they've done 327. And a brilliant test. And the diffuser at the back of the car is very interesting. A lot of mileage. Aston Martin, 314 laps. Now, disappointing. No getting away from it. Lance Stroll, Sebastian Vettel. It was a disappointing test. This is a team that were like Racing Point. They were so good last year, especially in testing. But it was disappointing for Aston. Sebastian Vettel had 2 issues and it cost him a lot of running. Sebastian Vettel only completed 117 laps. Kimi Raikkonen did more than that in one day. So that shows. Vettel had a gearbox issue and a power unit issue on day 3 that brought an end to his test. And he came out saying good things, but he needed the laps and he didn't really get them. Aston Martin, not a good test. A good test for Stroll, I would say, but not Vettel. Then on to the world champions Mercedes. There's no getting away from it. It was an absolute horror test. From Valtteri Bottas missing the whole morning with the gearbox issue. Toughest pre-season I can remember for the world champions. Now it wouldn't surprise me if we got to qualifying at Bahrain and they get pole by a country mile. But that was the toughest pre-season I can remember. Valtteri Bottas has a gearbox issue. Lewis Hamilton beached it in the gravel trap, got stuck. Lewis Hamilton had a spin coming out the last corner on the last day. But I do believe that they were running high fuel, Mercedes. So we look back and we review testing. It was a very reliable test. We hardly saw any issues, any problems, and the reliability on these cars is outstanding. We had 3 red flags in the whole of testing. Now that is impressive. Charles Leclerc, day 1. Lewis Hamilton getting stuck in the gravel trap. And Sergio Perez for debris on the pit straight. When he got in the slipstream of Latifi, pulled out and it all flew off, didn't it? The engine cover flew off. So there were 3 red flags. Amazingly, we had no crashes either. Now, Bahrain is a forgiving circuit, unlike Barcelona, but still, no crashes in testing. We had a lot of spins. Carlos Sainz, Latifi, Hamilton, Tsunoda, but we had no crashes. Amazing coverage. 24 hours. I mean, it's outstanding, the coverage. Outstanding. 8 hours each day. No adverts. It's amazing. 7 o'clock till 11. No adverts. And then we go 12 till 4. No adverts. Coverage was outstanding. And I hope that this is the normal now. That testing will always be streamed on TV. And so good. Day one was just bliss. To have the F1 back on our screens was absolutely amazing. Honestly. Watching testing, I was like a little kid at Christmas. Couldn't believe it. And I was so happy. And also, I did a testing preview. It went through the roof. Day 1, Day 2, Day 3 reaction. Now we're reviewing. And that is my review of the test. Red Bull were outstanding. Their best pre-season that I can remember. Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri, Alpine, Haas, Williams all had good tests. I've got to say that AlphaTauri was on rails though. That is an impressive car. Then you have Ferrari, who are unknown. They had a couple of issues, little couple of gremlins. McLaren were outstanding. Aston Martin and Mercedes definitely had the worst test. Yeah, gearbox issue for Sebastian, gearbox issue for Valtteri, and then a power unit issue. So, my order would be as follows. I do still believe, now Red Bull were outstanding, but I still believe Mercedes are top. I believe there's no way Mercedes are a second off. It's just not happening. It's not possible. I believe Red Bull have closed the gap, but I believe it's Mercedes, Red Bull, McLaren. Then we've got 4 teams that we don't know the order. Ferrari, Alpine, AlphaTauri and Aston. Then I think the 8th team is Alfa Romeo. The 9th team will be Williams. And the 10th team will be Haas. Because Haas have done no development to that car. So yeah. Comment down below your thoughts. I would love to know. What do you think the order is? Do you fully believe Red Bull are better than Mercedes? Of course they had a better test. But remember, it is testing. Mercedes could have been on high fuel for the whole test. Beautiful day outside today, by the way. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I saw sun. Yeah, I really enjoyed testing. Absolutely loved it. And I do think the 3 days was possibly a good idea because that made the teams get out on track and run. They can't hide now. They can't cover up. You're not allowed to cover your garage up. Only if you have a serious issue like a gearbox or power unit issue. F1 testing 2021 review. I absolutely love testing, and yeah, I can't wait for 2 weeks' time till we actually get racing. We'll be doing all preview, qualifying reaction, race reaction, driver ratings, and I've got another, maybe possible, another idea up my sleeve on the F1 weekends, but going to be interesting to see the order, and it's also going to be interesting to see if we have fans back in the grandstands. Yeah, on mileage, very impressed Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri. I mean, that literally does sum up the test. I mean, you got Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri did the most laps, and then you've got Aston Martin, Mercedes at the bottom. That literally sums up testing. I'm actually surprised Red Bull are not a bit higher, to be honest, because they had such a good test. But like Mercedes, they were doing 2 race distances, and now they're like bottom on laps completed. Wow. Comment down below, we'll always reply. I absolutely love testing, but roll on the 2021 season. Adios.